In this video, we're going to explore abuse and abuse support. We'll look at three main types of abuse, some proven methods for dealing with abuse to help you break free, and my own personal life lessons as well. The three types of abuse we will focus on are narcissistic, psychological, and emotional abuse. Abuse support for these specific types of mistreatment focus on helping those who suffer recover and thrive after experiencing damaging behaviors. Before we continue, I want to say that you should never tolerate abuse. Always protect yourself. Most of the time, you can tell if someone will be abusive. We get that gut reaction. The best course of action is to put as much distance between you and the abuser as possible. Narcissistic abuse is characterized by a chronic form of emotional manipulation perpetrated by individuals displaying narcissistic tendencies. Sufferers often find themselves in a cycle of abuse and manipulation, which includes tactics like gaslighting, emotional withdrawal, and emotional blackmail. An example of this is guilt tripping. Psychological abuse involves behaviors that harm an individual's mental health or emotional well-being. Tactics may include humiliation, intimidation, and control. Emotional abuse entails any act, including confinement, isolation, verbal assault, humiliation, intimidation, or any other personal injustice, diminishing the sense of identity, dignity, personal sovereignty, and self-worth of the individual. It's important to note at this point, you may have experienced all three types of abuse from the same person. Let's look at some statistics on these three types of abuse. Psychological abuse is quite pervasive, with approximately 20% of US women and 14% of US men experiencing severe psychological aggression from a partner in their lifetime. Emotional abuse has proven to lead to depression, anxiety, and post-traumatic stress disorder in some cases. Narcissistic personality disorder, or NPD, often a root cause of narcissistic abuse, affects about 6% of the population, though not all of those with NPD are abusive. It's evident that support is needed for so many of us because abuse is widespread. In some ways, it's getting worse. People are becoming more abusive, and there's a lot of people trapped out there. So how do we actually deal with all that abuse? Let's look at some proven techniques for abuse support. First, we'll look at cognitive behavioral therapy, and then we'll look at mindfulness. Cognitive behavioral therapy techniques for abuse support. Self-compassion training. Learning to replace self-critical thoughts with more compassionate self-talk can benefit survivors. On a personal note, I've noticed that post-abuse negative self-talk can occur almost as if the abuser is still there with you, telling you everything you do isn't good enough. Reality testing. Verifying the truth and rationality of one's own thoughts can be a way to counteract the gaslighting commonly found in narcissistic abuse. Now, both of these techniques highlight how abusers can get inside our heads. It's really important for us to take control of our own minds, because our own minds is the initiation into abuse. Abusers tend to destroy your idea of yourself and then create a new idea which pertains to pleasing them, which you are constantly chasing like a hamster wheel. It's so important to break free of your abuser, firstly in your mind. This is where the most work is done. Once the mind is free, then you can take action. Both of these techniques break through the chains that have been installed in our minds via the abuse and move us towards a clear understanding, compassionate, and honest look at ourselves, the world around us, so we are no longer trapped within a hypervigilant state of trauma-based mind control. Mindfulness techniques for abuse support. Mindfulness-based stress reduction, proven to reduce symptoms of chronic stress and emotional turbulence, can be particularly beneficial for victims of emotional abuse. Body scan meditation, focusing on bodily sensations, can divert attention from emotional pain and reveal how emotional abuse may affect physical well-being. Now, these techniques are looking at changing how we feel. From a state of consistent stress, fear, worry, paranoia of being trapped within an abusive cycle, we are able to understand how we feel and then shift away from the emotional pain of abuse and start to cultivate a real feeling of safety within our hearts, within our emotions. And both of these types of techniques complement each other, because we free our minds, we free our hearts, and then we can work on freeing ourselves from being trapped in an abusive relationship or an abusive situation. Freedom from abuse starts within the mind first, because it's almost as if we may be so compassionate we allow our abusers in. Now, that does not mean it's your fault. It is not your fault. You should never have to go through the abuse that you may be going through or have gone through in the past. And it's a horrible joke that our kindness to other people opens a doorway for them to abuse us. But that doorway is within the mind and within your emotions. So it's really important, when you are freeing yourself from abuse, to secure your mind and heart first, shifting away from the emotional turbulence, relaxing into your true nature, your true restful, open, aware power is step one. That way you can move away from this captured identity that is stuck in this abusive situation internally, and then shift towards your empowered identity. All of this has to happen in the mind first. Personally, I've been through a lot of abusive situations. I say it in every video, but the adventures of my life have taken me to very interesting, incredible, and unbelievable situations. Some of those situations have opened doorways to incredible things. Unfortunately, along with incredible things comes incredible risk. During my life, I've suffered abuse from many different angles. I've had it from partners, family members, friends, colleagues, co-workers. They've pushed me to limits I never knew existed. And it sounds strange, though in a way I'm grateful, because they taught me to never accept abuse, along with many other life lessons. I will share with you 5, and I really hope they help you. 5 abuse support life lessons. Apologies and promises are meaningless if nothing changes. Your gut knows. Never bypass your first impression of someone. Cut off the validation supply by removing your attention. Narcissists can't handle it. Then reward them for any act that isn't abusive while planning your escape. No gift or act of kindness is worth being abused for. Never be fooled by the good feelings that come with an apology. Abusers can't change. Instead, they get more skillful at hiding. For more free resources, updated and added to regularly, go to the free help button at the top of my website, untamedadvice.com. Remember, you can get a free counselling session as well. Simply go to my website and click on the Get Your Free Counselling Session button, and I look forward to meeting you soon.